Well, good morning, Vietnam. For those of you that are in on this live stream, thank you very much for joining in on this 8 a.m. Central Standard Time live stream. I don't know. I'm going to try to rethink about doing these early morning ones. And by the way, sorry, I'm a few minutes behind because it's been so long since I've done a live stream that I kind of forgot how to set things up and get things rolling. But I think everything is running good now. Let me find a chat window here and get that popped up. If the audio is coming through good, if you could just say something in chat so that way I know that I've got good audio being transmitted. We're going to talk about the GoPro Hero 13 and why I decided not to get it. And I want to make this disclaimer, I guess, right from the get-go. I am not a GoPro hater. I've always liked GoPros. And Jimmy, hey, thank you very much. Good morning, Jimmy. So the audio's good? All right, so we're good. I have always been a fan of GoPro because GoPro was the king of action cameras. They're the ones that actually started this whole craze of being able to capture your adventures and your sporting adventures on video. And my first one was a GoPro Hero 5. So I'm not a GoPro hater. I've had the 5 all the way through. Let's see if that camera focuses. Maybe not. I'm using a web camera. I wanted to try it out. It's the Osbot Tiny 2. But anyway, the GoPro Hero 12. So 5 through the 12, and I purchased all of them with my own money. GoPro's never ever sent me anything, and not that that would make any difference at all, but I just wanted to just make that very clear. I've always appreciated GoPro, but why did I not get into the GoPro Hero 13? Well, I want to share a video with you real quick, and it's something I want to try. Maybe this is something that we could do in the future, but it's kind of imagine doing a live stream review. And I'm going to play a review video during this live stream, and we'll see how that works out. And it'll explain a little bit in some samples, and then I'll get back to the live stream. We'll talk about my thought process on it all. So let's try out this video. So let me start off this video by saying that I am not a GoPro hater. I mean, I've been a GoPro fan since the GoPro Hero 5, and that was my actual first GoPro. It offered 1080p with stabilization, the first time electronic stabilization was offered, and 4K had no stabilization. That's back when we had to use a gimbal with the GoPro Hero 5, and I'll show you some footage of that in just a moment. But it gave us a whole new body style. It was waterproof, and it was still using the Umbrella chipset. So like I mentioned, the GoPro Hero 5 still had the Umbrella chipset, and it offered 4K image quality, but now it introduced image stabilization at 1080p, not at 4K, which is what you're looking at right now with the GoPro Hero 5. Then the GoPro Hero 6, it was the introduction of the new GP2 chipset, an in-house chip design from GoPro. And the GoPro Hero 6 to me was really, I don't think it was really refined yet, because the GoPro Hero 7 offered so much more as far as its stabilization and of course image quality. Now to me, back then, GoPro was really the true king of action cameras. And you had the budget action camera market that was trying to keep up with GoPro and try to compete at a budget level with some budget offerings for people. You know, every GoPro that I have, I purchased with my own money because I was really hyped up about what all the new offerings are. And admittedly, I'll tell you that I've got gas gear acquisition syndrome because I've always wanted the latest and greatest of things. And there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way. Right now I'm shooting on a GoPro Hero 8, which I think was a really good camera, but they changed up a couple of things. They took away the removable lens option. Here we are nearing the end of 2024, and with money being tight, everybody's on a budget, and our expectation levels being at an all-time high. Why didn't I get the GoPro Hero 13? Well, let's talk about some of the lessons that I've learned along the way. GoPro released the GoPro Hero 9. a whole new body style with great expectations from everybody in the market, but it was still using the GP1 chipset. And unfortunately for the GoPro Hero 9, it had audio popping issues. So it was definitely a hardware problem, at least in my opinion, because GoPro, the only way that they addressed it was by saying, turn on the GoPro Hero 9, let it warm up for a minute or two, and then start recording. That way you won't have any audio popping. But also with the introduction of the new body style, they did offer a new resolution, 5.3K and better stabilization. So that was a plus. Now we're starting to make some strides again with GoPro. Then GoPro gave us the GoPro Hero 10 Black with the new GP2 processor. Now what an honestly great improvement, because now with that new processor, the image quality looked better, stabilization was better, audio was better, and it was definitely much needed over that 9, because now there's no more audio popping problems. And then GoPro gave us the GoPro Hero 11 Black. Still had the GP2 processor, but they did some improvements, not groundbreaking improvements, but they did some meaningful improvements with it, where the image quality was tweaked a little bit more, and the audio's a little bit better, and stabilization was improved a little bit more, which these are all good things in the world. And by the way, just a quick little side-by-side comparison of the GoPro Hero 10 versus the GoPro Hero 11. And just to see what the image quality looks like between these two. Something I want to touch on. I want to touch on skin tones, because the skin tones and the detail of your face has started to slowly degrade over time with the GoPro cameras, but I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. And then GoPro, they gave us the GoPro Hero 12 Black. And was it a new chipset? Nope, still a GP2. Okay, did they give us some bumped up resolution? Nope. What did they do? They gave us the same case, or the same housing with some blue paint speckled on it, and they took away the GPS module. And any of the other improvements that they did was basically just a firmware updated GoPro Hero 11, in my opinion. So if you want to see a comparison between the 11 and the 12, this is what you're seeing right now, the GoPro Hero 11 and the GoPro Hero 12. And here they are side by side, so you can see what the image quality looks like on both of these. Can you tell the difference between the 11 and 12? Because I think the 11 is still a solid camera. And now here's the GoPro Hero 13 Black. New body style again, no GP3, same GP2 processor. It does have a larger milliamp hour battery now, but it's also a different design, so it's not backwards compatible. And it just seems like nothing more than some firmware tweaks on a GP2 and a new housing again. Yes, they did bring back the GPS. That's great. Now there's some new accessories that you can buy with the Creator Combo Kit, where you get some, sorry about that noise, where you can get some ND filters, some different wide angle lenses, even an anamorphic lens. But the anamorphic lens is not going to be available till sometime next year. And there's not even a price release for the anamorphic lens yet. And if you're looking at buying all the accessories, the ND filters, the wide angle lens and all that, now you're looking at potentially another $300 to $500 on top of the cost of the GoPro Hero 13 Black at $399. Now don't get me wrong, I've always liked GoPro, and I like their image quality, especially early on, because they were the leaders. But you know, now it's 2024, and you've got companies like Insta360 and DJI that have really raised the bar against GoPro. And in my opinion, Insta360 and DJI, they've actually taken the crown away from GoPro. In my opinion, I don't think GoPro is the king of action cameras anymore. But keep in mind, that's just my opinion. Now, you know, there's so many people out there, they keep on asking for a 1-inch sensor, but is it really needed? I guess if you want to get a little bit more dynamic range, a little bit better low light performance, but if you're gonna talk about low light performance, look at what the Action 4 and now the new Action 5 is doing for low light, and then look at the Insta360 Ace Pro. When it's in its low light mode, that thing is a low light beast. And anybody that's ever had a GoPro, if you're out in the dark with it, you know this low light performance is actually just terrible. You also have to keep in mind, like the Insta360 Ace Pro, it can shoot 8K 24 frames per second It doesn't have a 1-inch sensor. The non-pro version of the Insta360 Ace can shoot 6K at 30 frames per second, and its sensor is actually even a little bit smaller than what's in the Ace Pro. So when you're talking about low light performance with GoPros against the Insta360 Ace Pro or the DJI Action 4 or Action 5, it's totally night and day difference between those two. Excuse the pun there, night and day. Here's something that's really funny. There's people out there that will say, and I've been one of them whenever I'm reviewing action cameras, that action cameras are not meant for low light performance. They are meant for being out in the sun, skiing or doing water sports, but nice sunny conditions. That's where they perform the best. But you know, it never fails. I'll do a review on an action camera, and there's always people that want me to do a low light test, even though they know action cameras are not meant for low light. So, but if that is a concern to you and you want a low light beast of an action camera, then it's going to be the DJI Action 4, Action 5, or the Insta360 Ace Pro, hands down. You get great daytime image, you get great stabilization, and you get great low light. Another reason why I'm not going to get the GoPro Hero 13 is just kind of plain and simple. Its innovations over the last couple iterations of the Hero line have been so minuscule that to me, it's just little firmware updates. And where GoPro used to be king, if you look at like their stock, it used to be $14 a share. Now it's $1.30 a share. And it's $1.30 a share. That's after the release of the GoPro Hero 13. So I think the consumers out there are starting to realize that, you know, GoPro may not be it anymore when it comes to the one all be all king of action cameras. So what does GoPro need to do for the GoPro Hero 14 for next year? I think that they position themselves in the market to a point to where you've got brand loyalty. So you've got people out there that will get a GoPro just because that's their ecosystem. They don't mind that now they've got to get different types of batteries because the 12 battery will not fit in the 13. And they don't mind that. They're part, and they like that image quality of the GoPro. Good. But I think for GoPro to really regain that top spot, GP3 chip is going to be a must. I'm not saying 8K is a must, but maybe 6K or even an 8K that's downsampled to 6K, so that you've got an 8K image that has been smushed down into a 6K frame, and you get better video quality out of it. And I think that low light's going to have to be something that GoPro addresses. They're going to have to get into the low light market if they want to compete with DJI and Insta360. And I think if they don't do any of those things, larger sensor, GP3 chip that's more powerful than what the GP2 is, and low light performance, I think that if they don't do those things, I think that they're just going to be a memory as far as being the king of action cameras, because right now it's such a close tie between Insta360 and DJI. And I've only got the DJI 4. The DJI 5 will be here very shortly. Like it was supposed to be here today, but because of weather, it'll be here tomorrow. Those cameras are now, to me, 1 and 2 as far as action cameras, and it brings the GoPro down to third slot. And for the GoPro fans out there, like I said, I've been a GoPro buyer from the 5 through the 12. I'm not doing the 13. The 13 just does not impress me enough. So GoPro is going to have to start innovating. Simple little thing. Here's an example. If you want to pull out the SD card out of a GoPro camera, you've got to open up the battery door, and then you got to pull out the battery, and then you get access to the SD card. With the Insta360 Ace Pro or the Ace, you don't have to open up the battery compartment. You open up that little charging port, and you've got your USB-C charging port right there, and the SD card is right there next to it. Simply just pop it out. It's little things like that that save a little bit of time. And for those of you out there that have the media mod, you know what I'm talking about, because now not only do you have to take the camera out of the media mod, you got to take the battery out and then get access to the SD card. It's simple little things like that. I mean, GoPro with the 13, they did bring the magnetic mount. Okay, great job. You're a couple of years behind the competition with something like that. So that's what I think about the GoPro Hero 13 and what I think GoPro needs to do to reclaim their spot, if they're even going to be able to, because, you know, there's rumors about an Insta360 Ace Pro 2. there's already some pre-rumors about a DJI Action 6. Who knows? But unless GoPro gets on the train and starts to really make some innovations and become the leader again, they're just going to fall to the wayside. And I really wonder if GoPro is going to be able to withstand the next year financially with the way that consumers, you and I, the way that we buy products, we're getting smarter. We want the best value for our money, and our expectations are ridiculously high now in 2024. So anyway, that's my rant. That's my reasoning why I'm not going to get the GoPro Hero 13 Black. Tell me down in the comment section below, what do you think about it? And by the way, if you're part of this live stream of watching this live, this is a little experiment that I wanted to do to see how would it work to do a review / rant video / reasoning video why I didn't get the GoPro and do it in a live format. So thank you very much for tuning in, and back to Andre live. Well, unfortunately, I wasn't able to listen to everything that I was saying, but I kind of remember a little bit. It's really weird because I'm using OBS for live streaming. Can you hear me there, Jimmy? They say no audio anymore. So by the way, I do want to call out and thank those that, that's weird that lost the audio. Is the audio going right now, Jimmy? There's a 20-second delay between OBS and YouTube. Audio's fine there. Okay, thank you for those of you that have joined in on the live stream so far. There is a couple of things that I do want to talk about. Never mind, it's me, Roadcaster. Just turn. Oh, okay. Let's see. So we got Jimmy in chat. We got Rod Chris. Thank you very much for joining. Baba Gaming, HUB. Let's see. Catsup. If I messed up your name, I'm really sorry. Walk This Way. So that's basically my thoughts about the GoPro Hero 13. And I want to tell you chronologically why I am going to wait for possibly the GoPro Hero 14. So when GoPro changed the Hero 4 to the Hero 5, which was the new body style, waterproof, it was still using the Umbrella chipset. When they came out with the Hero 6 Black, that's when they introduced the GP1. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit. Now GoPro, they released the GoPro Hero 9, which was, once again, a new case, but it still had the GP1 chip in it. It wasn't until the GoPro Hero 10 that GoPro introduced the GP2. So here we are now with the GoPro Hero 13 with a new case, but it's still using the GP2 chip. So that's why I think that the GoPro Hero 14 is actually going to offer the new GP3. When I look at these cameras, I mean, okay, so just to show what I've got here on the table. I've got the GoPro Hero 10. This is the one that first came out with the new GP2. And I think that it's a great camera. For those of you that are already into GoPros, let's say you got a GoPro Hero 5 or a 6 or a 7, or even an 8, and you're thinking, okay, well, you know, I'm on a tight budget. Which one should I get? The GoPro Hero 10 is still a solid upgrade from the 8 to the 10. If you have the 10, the 11 was a little bit better. Like I said in the video, the 12 to me, I mean, when they added the little blue speckles on there, well, that camera even focus. Focus there for a second. Anyway, it's got the little blue speckles that took away the GPS module. And, you know, they do little tweaks here and there. I look at the GoPro Hero 13 and what they've added, and it's just, this is just my opinion. I think it's just a little firmware tweaks that they did with the GP2 that they could have offered with the GoPro Hero 12. But I think that there was enough of an uproar with the community that the GPS module being taken away, a lot of people wanted it back. So GoPro, they brought it back, but into a new body style. I said in the video that I was getting the Action 4 was supposed to be delivered on Wednesday. Here it is, Thursday. And looks like UPS lost it yesterday, even though it was supposed to be out for delivery. They say that, oh, well, it's somewhere on a conveyor belt. They don't know until they can get their hands on it. And that's one of the supervisors. And she had promised me that it would be delivered sometime today. The Action 4, I think, is a phenomenal camera. When you look, and you know, no offense to GoPro, but I really think that GoPro has lacked in innovation so much to where Insta360 and DJI, they've really stepped up their game. And in my humble opinion of using action cameras for the last, 2016, so last 8 years, they've really taken over the top 2 spots, and GoPro, in my opinion, has fallen down to 3rd spot. And I think it's kind of a money grab, too, with GoPro on the 13 because of everything that they've are pushing now with the 13. And like I said, you know, okay, it's great that they're offering an anamorphic lens that you don't have to wait for a third-party vendor to supply it for you, like Skyread or some of these other companies. But it's not even available now. I mean, I saw Potato Jet's review on it, and he was talking about that there's only 7 of the anamorphic lenses in existence, so don't damage it, and yada, yada, yada. So it's supposed to come out sometime next year. I like anamorphic lenses. I mean, in my side profession, that's what I like to use. I like the look of an anamorphic lens. And it's nice that GoPro can offer it. Maybe, free will, if you're listening, make an anamorphic lens for the Pocket, for the Action 4 or for the Action 5. I am really looking forward to the Action 5, though, because from what I've seen, and yes, there's some people that are saying that the bit rate is a little bit lower, and somebody on one of the DJI forums said that one of the engineers had confirmed that they will be offering a firmware update very soon on the Action 5 Pro that gives you the option of a lower or a higher bit rate, and that it can record at a higher bit rate. But that's my take on these action cameras and why I'm not going with the GoPro Hero 13. You know, since I pay for these out of pocket to do these reviews, and it's not that I didn't want to do a review on the 13. I did, but I just looked at it going, you know, cost-wise, it doesn't really offer a whole lot different. I mean, it's like little firmware tweaks that could have been offered on the 12 or even on the 11, you know, considering that they haven't updated the sensor on it. So there's no new sensor. There's, you know, a lot of things are lacking. When you look at the Action 4, great action camera. The Action 5 has a new sensor. When you look at Insta360, and by the way, somebody made a comment on one of the Insta360 videos a month or so ago that I was Insta360 shill. Yeah, okay, well, if that's what you think, whatever. I happen to like their products. I think that they're very innovative as far as the products that they bring. When you look at, like, okay, GoPro Hero 13, now they offer the magnetic mount on the bottom. Okay, great. A little late to the party there, considering that Insta360 and DJI have already done that. But if you look at the Ace, the non-pro version, this one records up to 6K, 30 frames per second. You saw that in yesterday's video when I did a side-by-side comparison of the GoPro Hero 12 versus the non-pro Ace. Then we've got the Ace Pro. This thing is a low-light beast. Will I be doing a low-light comparison between the Ace Pro and the Action 5 Pro? Absolutely. DJI, the Pocket 3. This thing is great in low light. Let me get into the chat section here to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. Let's see. Okay. When comes the Insta Ace 2? I don't know. Maybe I do, or maybe I don't. I don't know. we'll talk about that in the future. Let's see. You should get the Action 5. It's a lot better at low light. Well, the Action 5 should be here today. They're promising me by between 11 and 12 o'clock. So we'll see if UPS actually delivers it correctly. Jimmy J, DJI has done a masterful job of integrating accessories that make vlogging so good these days. The Mic 2 especially, but all the DJI handheld products. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you there, Jimmy. I used the little DJI Mic 2 that came with the Pocket 3 Creator Kit. I use it a lot, and I can use it with the Insta360 Ace Pro. I can use it by itself because it records 32-bit internal recording. I use it with the Pocket 3. I can use it with the Action 4. So, you know, DJI has come a long way. When I've still got my old Pocket 1, the original DJI Pocket 1. And, you know, that thing still works just fine. Everybody was so concerned about battery life on the Pocket 1 since it's a non-removable battery. How long will a battery last? It's only good for X amount of charges. I've had that since, gosh, don't even quote me now. Oh, when did the Pocket 1 come out? I'm sure someone in the chat will, you know, when you get my age, you start forgetting a lot what happened when. But anyway, it's been years and it still works fine, but the Pocket 3 puts the Pocket 1 to shame. The innovations, I mean, and yeah, here we are 2024, look at AI. Who would have thought a year ago that AI would have been so prominent today as what it is? And just think of what 2025 is going to bring. Back to the comments here. Let's see, walk this way. Your decision is the same reason why I didn't buy the Hero 13 and bought the DJI Pro 5 Pro, and the dual mics work great. You know, that's one thing. I've only got one of the DJI Mic 2's transmitters. I never got the kit. The only kit I got was a kit that Rode had sent me, the Rode Wireless Pro kit. And, you know, this is not to be all about DJI. Rode makes good products too. But I like the fact that the DJI 5 Pro can accept 2 transmitters being broadcast into it. So that is really cool. Let's see. That smirk means something. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'll just take a sip of coffee and move on to the next question. Let's see. Jeff Sebelius. How are you doing, Jeff? Hope recovery's going well for you. I tell you, you and I, we got to get together and go drone flying again if you're up to it. Let's see. Loving the Action 5. You just got it. I can't justify the cost of the GoPro Hero 13. Neither can I, Jeff. That's why I just... Let's see. Pocket. 2018. Okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah, so that's 6 years ago. 2018. So a 6-year-old camera from DJI, the Pocket 1, the battery still works just fine on it, and it records just fine. There's no issues with it. Let's see. Smirk, Ace 2, cough, cough. Jeff Sebelius, you bet. Jimmy, does the Action 5 Pro audio interface have as many options as the Mic RX module? That's something that you probably have to ask Rainy Ranu Life. Nope. Who was it that said that to dual mics? Oh, Walk This Way. So I would Walk This Way if you want to address Jimmy J regarding that question, because I don't have the Action 5 Pro in my hands yet. I'll do an unboxing video. I'll do a quick little first thoughts video about it. And then I want to say give it about a week or so before I do a full review on it. I've already got a whole list of things that I'm going to do with that camera and tests that I'm going to perform with it. And, you know, I want to make sure that it's going to be in focus, first off, because the Action 3, if for those of you that have been watching the channel at all, when I got the Action 3, I was really disappointed with the lens being out of focus. And it was my conjecture at the time that the lens assembly, the distance between how far the lens is screwed in from the sensor was off. And I got so much hate out of that, saying, oh no, it looks just fine. It's YouTube compression. No, that thing was out of focus. Alan from SoundSpeeds, I'd sent him some raw files, and he had checked it out, and he stuck it in DaVinci Resolve to see if he could improve it much. And then, DJI, they released the firmware update that just added some sharpening, and sharpening does not equate to focus. So, that is one of the big complaints that people have about the Insta360 Ace Pro, that its close focusing distance is not great. But I also look at the fact that this camera is capable of 8K at 24 frames per second. So I think that when you're talking about a sensor that is capable of 8K, there has to be a little bit of give and take. And if you look at like larger cameras, you're probably wondering, what the hell does Andre have on his desk here? Larger cameras, Sony a7 IV. With different lenses that you put on, you get different minimum focus distances. So that is kind of the norm. Let me get this over here. That's kind of the norm when it comes to lenses. It depends on the lens. So that has a big determining factor. Let's see. Nothing else in chat. I think I'm still online. Nowadays you can't tell. I mean, no offense, but let's see. Yep, says excellent connection. I'm still broadcasting, so life is good. So if you have any other questions, put them down in the comment section real quick, because I'm about to wrap this up. I have bent everybody's ears for 38 minutes, and I do appreciate you taking the time. What I'm going to do is probably start doing, well, here's a question I have for you, the viewers out there. How do you like the concept of doing a live review video? Kind of like what I just done. So doing a live stream, throwing a review video in, and then being able to come back and live talk back and forth about it. Put it down in the comment section below if that's something that you're interested in, because I don't think I've seen, if there is channels doing it, I haven't seen it. But then again, there may be some channels that do it for members only. And that's something that I will be adding in the very near future, is some member incentives. So if you're interested in becoming a channel member, hey, think about it. All you got to do is click the little join button, and I'll be adding some really cool perks here in the very near future. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But I think it's going to be very much appreciated by those that decide to join. Blue collar guy, good morning. Let's see, 8K and action camera is kind of overkill, don't you think? Yes and no. So if we remember, if we go back to like 2016, 2017, 1080p was it. If you got 2K, that was great. 4K was the pipe dream. Everybody complained about 4K, saying that, oh, who's got a computer that can deal with that? Those files are so enormous, my computer is going to drag down. And here we are today. 4K is the norm. So when it comes to 8K, the biggest advantage for us, the consumer or prosumer, or even some of us that are in commercial work, that you can take an 8K video and you can crop in on it and not lose any resolution on a 4K timeline. So that gives you some flexibility in post regarding editing. Is it going to be the norm? No, I think that we're going to see incremental jumps in video. And when you look at YouTube, how it compresses videos anyway, even if it's a VP9, which is a higher compression standard for YouTube, it still compresses it. I mean, I can upload a 4K video at 40 megabits per second, or I can upload one at 100 megabits per second, or I can upload one at 150 megabits per second. And the end result still kind of looks the same. Very minuscule improvements in video quality because, I mean, YouTube, think about it. How many thousands of videos get uploaded every single minute on YouTube? There's servers that they've got to squish down the files. Let's see, back to chat. I kind of went on to a rant there about 8K, but I think that eventually 8K will become the norm and the expected thing. Right now, yes, it's a little bit gimmicky, but I can tell you that the 8K on the Ace Pro is a genuine 8K. I pixel peeped that thing to death because I wanted to make sure, because the Casso Brave 8 had claimed that they can do 8K with their time lapse, and that was not an 8K. That was a 4K upsampled to an 8K timeline, and the pixels weren't there for an 8K. So let's see. You can really only upload 4K to YouTube. Well, I've actually uploaded 8K, and it will play as 8K. It just takes forever. My GPU and my computer and Adobe Premiere Pro, when I do software, I'm not software encoding, hardware encoding, can only do a 4K file. So when I do an 8K file, it does software, which takes forever for it to render. But YouTube will show an 8K video. There is an option. It just takes forever for them to process it. Just the algorithm smashes that down even. Yeah, yes, the compression does do that. Jimmy J, I like it, but it may not be able to join every time. Hey, I totally understand that, and this is something I wanted to try. I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I've had a couple of people message me. I had a friend of mine email me going, "Hey, man, what are you going to do? Are you going to do the Hero 13 or not?" And I'm not, but I wanted to be able to give a reason why. And like I said, there's going to be GoPro fans out there that are just like, "Oh, you're totally wrong." Well, that's okay. I've dealt with enough action cameras over the last 8 years, and I'm talking hundreds of action cameras, from no-name brands to mid-name brands to high-name brands, and I don't have an affiliation to any of them. I mean, SJ Cam used to be a really great budget action camera market or company, and they brought some really nice, innovative products that were price conscious and gave you not GoPro quality, but they gave you at least 75% of what a GoPro would offer at a third of the cost. SJ Cam, I don't know. They've kind of went awry. So did Acaso. Let's see here. Renew Life. What's your opinion about the trend that AI polishes low light footage? You like process imaged, but brighter and natural, a bit more noises. I have used video noise suppression third-party tools before on video projects that I've done. One of them was a documentary that was shot in low light, and there was a lot of noise in that video, and so I had to clean it up. I don't have a problem with AI cleaning up a grainy image, because the bottom line is this: what's the end product going to be, the end result going to be for you, the consumer out there? So if Insta360, and I don't know what kind of magic that they do with their pure video mode on the Ace Pro, but if it is AI and it is that nano chip inside that's helping with the video noise level, and it takes away that grain, me as a consumer, I'm all for it. I have no problem with it. I hope that answers the question. I hope that's where you were going with that. Let's see. Agree with blue collar guy. I'm going to say, Jimmy, you're probably talking about either the 8K or the YouTube compression. Let's scroll down here. Has since the 360 ever sent you free camera and asked you not to tell or disclose, because a lot of teachers have caught them as a result. No. Yes, Insta360 has sent me free products to review. No, they've never told me not to disclose. And I think, that's a big can of worms. And if you guys want to get into that, I'll get into that. So it started with iPhondo and Jevendovi. So they were apparently asked, do not disclose, so to make it look more authentic, like it's a genuine review. And for those of you that don't get products from companies, let me shed some light. You don't get the president of the company that's going to contact you. You get a representative, one of their marketing people that's going to send you an item. And I think a lot of it falls on the representative. The representative may want to make themselves look better to their boss or their department manager to say, hey, see, I sent out this product, but look, I sent it out to these people, and look at the sales that were driven. Because it all comes down to sales. I mean, we all know that. When a company sends you a product, they're hoping that it will drive some type of sales. For the YouTuber, they're hoping that maybe they're going to make a little bit of affiliate money out of the deal. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, I have no problem throwing a company under the bus. I will tell you my honest opinions, and I'll give you my honest take and my honest... Okay, like, here's a great example. Sonata. They sent me that e-bike, the Sonata Mayor, to review. And I said at the time, the greatest e-bike I've ever ridden. And I still today think that. Their marketing rep that I have dealt with is a piece of garbage. She tried to steal a bunch of videos and put it on their marketing page. So I politely reached out to her and I said, hey, you need to take down these videos. You didn't ask for permission. You didn't pay me to make these videos for you. I'm not here working for you. She didn't, so I copyright striked it. They put up 2 videos. They were begging. They were trying to do everything possible. But, back to the Insta360 thing, because I don't want to get off onto a tangent because, coffee's really now starting to kick in. Okay, but Insta360, back to the reps. I don't know all the inner workings. I don't know if iPhone's rep is the same rep that Jevendovi had. And there may be more people out there that had that problem. For me personally, I have dealt with 1, 2, 3. My first person I had for a couple of years, he got promoted up. The next person, I only had her for, I want to say about 8 months. She got promoted up. The person I've got now, he's fantastic. They don't tell me anything. They ask me, do I want to review the product? Yes, sure I do. I like their products. And I think that you, the consumer out there, deserve an honest take on a product. Insta360 has never asked me anything. They've never said, hey, send me this review video. Here's all the talking points about it. They just send it to me, and that's it. They don't even ask me, hey, can you send me a link to the video after you publish it? They ask nothing. They just disappear until the next product line comes out. So that's what I appreciate. For me personally, I have no issues. And trust me, when that whole iPhondo thing and Jevendovi issue first came up, I was like, whoa, okay, what kind of funny business are they doing? And I can't say for certain that it's just a rep, that it wasn't maybe a sneaky company thing. My reps have been fantastic. Every rep that I've dealt with Insta360 has been great. So hopefully that answers your question regarding that. It's just, it can be a deep hole because I've had companies before that would send me a product and I have an email that I send them that I don't promise to review this. If I have issues, I will reach out to you first to see if you can resolve it. Maybe it's a firmware tweak, or maybe I got a bad unit, whatever the case is. Because, we are human, and humans put these things together, and maybe one of them was faulty. But I put all that into an email to them. And then I'll get a company that'll say, well, we want you to do this. We want you to say this. You have to do this. You can do this. And then send us a video. You know what I tell those companies? Send me a prepaid return label so I can send it right back to you. Because now I'm not going to review it. And if you don't send me a return label, I'm just going to give it away to somebody. I'm not even going to make a video about it because it doesn't warrant it. So I don't like shady business. And I think that there's going to be some reviewers out there that are shady, and they do it for the shill factor of, every company that they talk about is fantastic with the thought process in mind that they're going to get more products. Okay, I'm on their good side now. Well, you know what? Now you've just kind of jeopardized your standing in the community regarding your integrity. At least that's the way I feel at my age. Let's see. Boycott them. Walk this way. DJI 5 doesn't have as many mic 2 options as the module. But they're okay. I guess that's back to answering Jimmy's question. El Chario Politico. I like DJI. Good company, good products. I feel the same way. I think DJI makes great products. I mean, my first DJI product. I'm trying to think if it was the Osmo Action 1, which I still have, and it still works. Or was it the Mavic Pro? It was one of those two. Like I said, I'm getting old now, so memory's starting to fade just a little bit. I really appreciate your independence, even if it's not that easy. Danny Tamaska. I think I said your last name right. Well, let's just say Danny T. Everybody says that they do honest reviews. You kind of get a feel for if someone is doing an honest review or not, because and there's no item out there that's perfect, at least nothing that I've ever come across. I mean, the big thing with like Sony, I am a Sony fan. I was a Canon I started with Sony, went to Canon for a short time, ended up back with Sony. I am in the Sony ecosystem hard. I mean, from the FX6 to the FX30, the A7 IV, A7S3, A7S3. What a great camera. What a great camera. Even still now, 4 years later. But even those have problems. I mean, Sony, they released a firmware update for the FX30 and FX3 that offered, I believe it was shutter angle. And now they've pulled back that firmware because it was bricking cameras. I mean, think about that. You've got a camera that you spent a couple grand on, and you do a company firmware update on it, and it bricks the camera. Would you be pissed? Yeah, I would. That's why I'm really hesitant when companies release firmware updates. I kind of let the firmware sit out there for a while and see how people address it and if it's good or not before I kind of jump into it, unless it's like GoPro. And I will give GoPro some kudos here. So, and this is for all the GoPro users out there going forward. If you have a GoPro and you go to GoPro.com, you can look down and there's a section on the bottom of the page about software updates. And you can go in there and you can update or download updates for whatever camera, GoPro Hero 5, 6, 7, all the way up. Every time they release a new firmware, I download that firmware and I keep it into a separate file. Because if for some reason, and the reason I do that is because if GoPro updates to a new firmware, they remove that last firmware. So now I keep a backup of every firmware, like with the, where is it at here? The GoPro Hero 12. I have the initial firmware upon release. I've got the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth firmware. I have them all because if there's a firmware that I personally don't like, I think that something suffered, I can always go back into a file and revert that firmware back. So that's kudos on GoPro that they do that. SJCam used to list all of their firmware updates. They don't anymore. Now with these newer cameras, whether it's DJI or Insta360, once you do a firmware, you have to do it through their app, and you can't roll back. Let's see. Walk this way, peace sign. I guess you're leaving. Or no, maybe that was cool. Blue collar guy. If it was just a rep that did that, and I do believe that you give honest reviews, 360 would have fired that rep and made a public announcement. Don't you agree? Yes. That's a valid statement. I think that if it was one rep that was doing shenanigans like that, and it cost the company the reputation, because, you know, iPhoto and Jevon Dovey and some of the other people that have now went on the Insta360 boycott, I think that you would assume that there would be some type of press release regarding it, whether it was just in writing or on the website or on a Twitter post or something to that effect. You would think that they would do that. Now, if you remember earlier in the conversation, I was talking about the reps and maybe the marketing department manager. And maybe they have multiple. Maybe it was a manager that told their reps to do this. I don't know. I don't really know the inner workings. It's hard for me to really come down on Insta360 and say, bad company. You got bad business morals. It's hard for me to do that when I've never experienced it. And that's why right at the beginning, I was I had some trepidation regarding that, because I was like, well, hang on. iPhone's been in the industry for a while. He's got a huge following. So does Jevon Dovey. These are people that I watch and respect. They wouldn't put out a video like that just because they didn't do their homework, or they got their feelings hurt, or whatever the case is. And so that's why I kind of took a step back going, okay, hang on, what's going on? But then I had to realize, you know, I can't base my thoughts about a company off of the experience of a couple of other people when I've never experienced that. And am I cautious? I mean, I will tell you flat out, the first time that Insta360 tries to pull a shenanigan with me, I will also make a trash video trashing them. But up until then, it's been a good company. My dealings with them have been fantastic. They've been super nice. You know, I posted up about that new mounting option for your bike camera mount from Insta360. And I mentioned that my X4 hit the ground with that pole. It hit the ground, busted one lens, and I guess it turned a little bit loose because it was loose on the end of the pole, probably after hitting the ground, and it scraped up the other lens. And I did not have the lens protectors on, and that's strictly my fault. And I told the rep that, hey, you know, there won't be any X4 videos because I damaged mine, but we need to redo that clamp somehow. And they didn't offer to replace it. They were just like, sorry to hear about your X4. We have a new design coming for bike mounts soon. Okay. And that was it. So I went ahead and bought another X4 because I think the X4 is a great camera. Let's see what else we got here. Where are you at? Here, walk this way. I like that DJI make the Mic 2 adapter to use the Mic 2 on Sony cameras. Yes. But see, I don't have the Mic 2 kit, so I would need the receiver to be able to plug into that little hot shoe adapter to go into Sony cameras. If I had the whole DJI kit, then yes, I would definitely splurge the money on that little adapter, because that could make life so much more easier. No cables to deal with. Just plug and play and you're good to go. Let's Let's see, El Chirino Politico, gotta go. Have a good day. Thank you very much for joining. And he's probably already gone. But speaking of that, here it is. It is 9:01 in the morning. I have kept you for 1 hour and 1 minute on this live stream. I'd like to thank everybody that joined in on this live stream. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And hopefully we got something good out of this to where it gave you some insight regarding the GoPro Hero 13, even though the conversation kind of leaned into the Insta360 and some of that little drama. But anyway, I hope you guys have yourself a great day. I'll have some DJI Action 5 Pro videos coming up. If you would, put it down in the comment section of this video after the video gets released. Even though it's live, YouTube has to process it, and then they'll put it up again as a replay. But put comments down in the comment section. What tests would you like for me to do with the Action 5 Pro? Because maybe you've got an idea that I haven't written down, and we'll kind of go from there. But until the next live stream and until the next video, I hope that everybody has a great, fantastic day. It's finally cooling down here in Texas. And yeah, that's about it. Jimmy, thank you for joining in. And for everybody else, have yourself a great day. And I will talk to you later. Bye.